What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Justin Henry Show, live here on the Champions Round YouTube and Twitch pages. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, download the Champions Round app. Today is April 17th, and this weekend we had a lot of things happen. Obviously, the NBA playoffs were in full effect. Game ones are across the board in the Western Eastern Conference, full of upsets. We're going to talk about it, man. And then the NFL draft is starting to heat up. So we've got some trade rumors. We got some smoke screens coming up. Some guys not being invited to the NFL draft. So we'll talk about that here in a moment as well. With 2 weeks leading up into the NFL draft, you're sure to get a whole lot of news here. But first, got to talk about it, man. I had a good weekend, right? This weekend was a great weekend for myself. Got to spend some time with my family. Got to spend some time watching sports. That's fun and all. But my weekend was not as good as Jalen Hurts, who probably didn't even realize it until today. He knew it was coming up, but got the mega extension. It was announced this morning. The highest paid player in NFL history. Now, Jalen Hurts, $255 million, 179 guaranteed. 5-year deal extension now, so he'll be with the team for the next 6 years. Round of applause. Well deserved for Jalen Hurts, who, you know, there's been a lot of turmoil with him in his career, right? Obviously in Alabama, he was replaced. He got to, it was a second-round draft pick for the Eagles, and after his first year in the league, everybody and their mama was questioning whether he should be the starter remaining forward. There was talks of him being replaced, and now through this entire season, they got him some weapons. There's a lot of belief around this young man. Signed a nice 5-year extension to become the highest-paid player in NFL history. So congrats to Jalen Hurts, who has been through a lot in his career, but now is well paid for it. And for the Eagles, this gives them a nice rock here to build on over the next however many seasons. Obviously a 5-6 year deal that can be more long-term. It can be cut a little bit short depending on performance. But now they know what to expect with Jalen Hurts. And for him, he has a no-trade clause. How was he able? He was able to get a no-trade clause included in this deal. So now they can't just ship him wherever. He controls his own future. And for his performance last year and what he's been able to do in his career, it's well-deserved. The Eagles obviously are going to continue to put pieces around this player, Jalen Hurts, and continue to support him throughout his career. And this is a nice, strong foundation, right? This team was in the Super Bowl last year and obviously has the framework to do that for the next few seasons. So weapons are around him. Defense is immaculate. Line is good. Run game's good. This Eagles team is ready to rock now. It should be a contender here as a team that's going to be in Super Bowl contention for the next, I would say, at least 3 to 4 seasons. Things look bright. If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan right now, you got to be happy, right? This is a long time since the Super Bowl, right? You kind of sense that this was coming along. So obviously didn't get the win last year, but this is a nice, secondary consolation prize. Well-deserved for Jalen Hurts, but shout out to Eagles fans too. You got a nice foundation and competitive team now for the foreseeable future. So there's one other person that I think this was a tremendous deal for, and that's Lamar Jackson, right? Russian quarterbacks. You can't pay them. They'll never get paid. Lamar is asking for way too much, $250. That's only given out to Deshaun Watson. They're not going to give him $200 million guaranteed. I think times are changing for Lamar Jackson. The price just went up. As this average is over $51 million per season, I think Lamar is very justified in asking for 45, 50. Now, the guarantees obviously are going to be different for Jalen Hurts, but I don't want to hear it. No more excuses. None. Lamar Jackson, he's injury prone. We've seen Jalen Hurts get hurt at times. He missed part of the games last year. And Lamar's only missed 9 games in his career. Due to injury. So I don't want to hear the injury concerns. Now, mobile quarterbacks, they don't last long. You can't pay them. Guess what? The Eagles team just proved that. You get them a weapon. They got A.J. Brown, and then you pay them and keep them for a long period of time. 5-year extension. He's their quarterback for the next 6 years. I don't want to hear it. Mobile quarterbacks, you can't pay them. Guess what? The Eagles just proved that you can. Oh, but the guarantees are too much. You don't want to guarantee over $200 million for a mobile quarterback. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. The Eagles just set the precedent for it. $179 million guaranteed for Jalen Hurts. And Lamar has an MVP to his name. Lamar has much more tenure to his name. He's been in the league for now 4 years, a little bit more than Jalen Hurts in his 2. So, or actually 5 years, for Lamar Jackson. So he's been tenured a little bit longer. He's 26, about to enter his prime. So I don't want to hear any more excuses for Lamar Jackson. Now, there is one thing I got to get off my chest, though. I think the NFL Players Association has to do something about these contracts for these first-round players. The reason why I say that, Jalen Hurts up for an extension a little bit earlier in his career than Lamar Jackson. Lamar has had to play 4 years plus the 5th-year option and now a franchise tag before he's up for his first major deal or really in line to get a negotiation for an extension. Like, he had to go through a lot longer process, right? We talk about it with running backs. Running backs in the first round are completely screwed. Like, they're fucked. Absolutely, because they have to go through 4 years, and then if they're good, like Saquon Barkley, they have to get that 5th-year option. Then they get franchise tagged. So we're talking about guys playing 5-6 years of their career in their prime, especially for that running back position where the shelf life is only 5 to 6 years anyway of prime production. And now what? They're screwed out of it because they were talented in college? They're better in college than the second rounders, third rounders. But if you overperform as a second, third rounder, it's cool. You get your money a little bit earlier. But as a first rounder, if you don't perform, or if you do perform, now you got to wait to get extended out. Now you have to get a contract later on in your career. That doesn't make any sense to me. So if I'm the Players Association, or if I'm a rookie or somebody coming into the league, if I'm these, like, the money that these guys get, that they perform at a level, like, the team has so much control over the first round players. It's getting to be a little disappointing. I know it's skewed from back in the days when you had guys like Sam Bradford cashing out in the first round, Jamarcus Russell. Guys were getting paid at an extremely high rate for being unproven. But it's getting to a point now where this first round talent is starting to get very, very underpaid and disrespected, especially when it comes to the running back position. Some of these other the other positions as well. If you do well and, the team doesn't want to pay you for a while, they have the ability to do so and stretch it out as far as they can. So I want to see something done about this. I think it's a disservice to the players who play extremely well in college, have to go for 3 years in the NFL. It's not like the NBA where you can come out one and done. They have to go prove it for 3 seasons in order to play in the NFL. So for me, I think there has to be something done. Some of these guys don't come out until they're 22, 23 years old. The prime of their career is in that 24, 25, 26 range, especially for the running back position. So if you come out as who's probably going to get screwed really hard? Najee Harris, because he came out 24 years old as a running back, probably won't see, or 23 as a running back, won't see his next contract extension until he's probably, 27, 28 years old, probably out the league by then. So I want to see something done. I got to see something done about these contracts. It's kind of pissed me off. I ain't going to lie, man. Some other breaking news that came out football-wise before we get into the NBA. We got a lot to talk about NBA because it was a wild weekend, and there's going to be some massive Game 1 overreactions that we got to talk about. You see the Laker hat. I'm not going to overreact to things, but for the Lakers, I'm always going to talk good about my Lakers, right? But being realistic as a fan, there's some things with this Memphis team we're going to talk about in just a second. But some more breaking news. Brock Purdy himself just recently came out and said he's not sure if he's going to be able to play in this 2023 season. So he had surgery a month ago, and there was a lot of talk about, hey, is he going to be the guy come week 1? Is Trey Lance going to be the starter? This team, John Lynch said, hey, Brock is our guy. Like, he's going to be our guy moving forward. So I get it. Brock's the guy. He's the person that they want to have. The team success that they had last season really allowed him to earn that starting role. But to miss the entire season, that would give Trey Lance, Sam Bradford an opportunity to at least knock the door open, right, for potential to be the guy. Like, Trey Lance is going to have all the opportunity in the world. He's the guy that has the most to prove in this situation. And, I've been talking a little bit about football, and I couldn't continue to talk about football without bringing my guy Matt in. Matt, what's going on?
How's it going?
In the stream, bro. And I've been ranting. I'm not going to lie. I've been ranting for this. for this good first couple minutes of this show, bro. I have been ranting about Lamar Jackson, about Jalen Hurts, and now I was going to start to rant about Trey Lance and his opportunities because Brock Purdy may not be available for the entire season next year. There's been a lot of talks, bro, about Brock Purdy, about Trey Lance, who should be starting. And I think it's Trey's time. He's going to have an opportunity to prove himself. But Brock, man, it sucks to see a guy that Mr. Irrelevant played so well last year has a potential to miss the entire season next year.
So my question to you is, as a 49ers fan, do you want to see – I'm assuming you want to see Trey Lance, right?
Oh, yeah. You got to see Trey. I think with the draft capital you're giving up, the potential that's there, the draft capital you invested in Trey Lance, the third pick overall, and you traded everything to go up and get him. Why not see what you have in a guy? And that gives Brock Purdy a lot of time to recover, get his arm right, get his confidence back instead of thrusting him into a role as a starter where there's a high probability of failure. Brock Purdy is a guy who's going to have to work really hard to get back on the field. Then if Brock Purdy loses 2 or 3 games, he's got Trey Lance on his heels. He's got even Sam Darnold at his heels. I think this gives the right opportunity to Brock Purdy, gives the Niners time to evaluate Trey Lance as the starter without really any backlash or anything. So let's see it play out, man. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. For me, I didn't really watch much of Trey Lance. I remember that Bears game, but that was during a monsoon. It wasn't fair to really judge anybody off that.
Right.
But I feel like Trey Lance deserves a shot. As a 49ers fan, I feel like you just want to see him out there. You just want to see him play and see what he can do. And I think Brock Purdy's done everything in the world to get the opportunity. He was fantastic. Everything he was able to do for that 49ers organization last year. I think it's such a tough situation for him. I feel like – and I like the idea of going with Trey Lance. You got Brock Purdy can come back, take his time and all that. And we'll see where things are at. Once Brock Purdy comes back, I'm sure there's going to be quarterback controversy and question marks if Trey Lance isn't performing the way people think. But at least give the kid a shot.
We've seen the Niners kind of do this before. So obviously we don't know if Brock Purdy's coming back, if this is player talk, if it's been coach speak over the offseason. We don't know the exact situation. But we have seen him do this before with Jimmy G. It's okay, we kind of put Jimmy on the shelf. Trey Lance is our guy. Oh, now Jimmy G's ready to go. He can play. So I think the Niners will hold this one close to the vest, right? Obviously with his recovery, how he's doing. I don't think the public is going to get the full picture. The Niners, since John Lynch has taken over, they've played a lot of things really close to the vest. They've thrown a lot of smoke screens out there. We saw it with the Mac Jones, Trey Lance thing, how the organization, the talk was that they were moving up to go get Mac, and then they ended up taking Trey Lance. So I think with Brock Purdy, we're going to see this team kind of play it by ear, right? If he's healthy enough in the offseason, they might say, you know what, we're going to give him time and just kind of evaluate Trey Lance. If something good happens, now they can move Brock Purdy. If something bad happens, they have an option now that can take over. Exactly. So a lot of good things there, bro. But before we get into NBA, because next is NBA.
Oh, man, I'm excited.
I gotta hear your thoughts on this, bro. So Jalen Hurts, I just talked about it, highest paid player NFL history. Now is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles guaranteed quarterback. Any thoughts on that before we just any just random thoughts that pop to your head? Because he got the bag. I'm talking big bag.
If you would have told me this a year ago, I would not have believed you. I will come on the show and I will tell you firsthand, last year, I wasn't a believer in Jalen Hurts. I wasn't. I remember, when he transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma, I went to the Red River Rivalry, obviously, as a Texas Longhorns fan. And I was like, all right, this guy can run, he's physical, but how is that going to translate in the NFL? I didn't think it was going to be great. But take away every single thing that he did in the regular season last year, his postseason performance, what he was able to accomplish in the Super Bowl, some of those throws he made, he was fantastic. And I think right now, everyone just immediately starts talking about Lamar Jackson, right? It's just crazy, man.
That's where I went. I went straight
Dude,
to
how
Lamar.
could you not?
There's no more excuses for this.
No, it's
absolutely
total BS. It's total BS. Congratulations to Jalen Hurts, though. They have a lot going there for Philadelphia, and they locked him up. It's crazy. These quarterback contracts are just getting bigger and bigger, especially with the TV rights and all that stuff.
The NFL, these owners are making more money. So Dan Snyder just sold the team for $6 billion. So I pay Lamar, pay Jalen Hurts. I'm not mad at paying these guys over 5-6 years. They can do that. So, all right, man, on the NBA, bro. And this was a hell of a weekend for NBA, dog. Going over it, I know that this is going to be game one overreaction central, but we got to start in Sacramento. Sacramento, we have to start there because that was probably, I want to say that was probably the game of the weekend. If you were watching that game, you were on the edge of your seat. The crowd was electric. The atmosphere was electric. The play was electric. Like, this is what playoff basketball was all about. And the Kings got that win, game one. But this is going to be a very long series between this Kings and Warriors team who have elite pieces on both sides. I think the one thing that I got out of this Kings-Warriors series is that the Kings are here to stay. Yeah. This is a real team. This team is going to be a problem for the next few years, at least as long as they keep this core intact. And De'Aaron Fox is him.
He is him. De'Aaron
Fox is him, bro. Oh. This clutch, he's been playing clutch like this all season long. And so I love it. Even as a Laker, I got a fucking Lakers hat on. I got to show respect to these Sacramento Kings, bro, because De'Aaron Fox, he played a hell of a game, was clutch all throughout the fourth quarter, and even heading into the fourth quarter, even as Steph Curry's hitting crazy three-pointers. You love to see it, bro. This Sacramento Golden State series is must-watch TV.
I found myself thinking the same thing, but after that game and then the Suns-Clippers game where I was like, this is game one. Like, this is only game one. And I was so impressed with the Kings. I thought maybe Golden State could go in there and steal game one. And it looked at times like, Curry and everyone, like, it was just a classic NBA playoff matchup where,
yes.
There was this Kings team that are young and fearless and they're led by De'Aaron Fox. And it was just, I kept waiting. I was like, okay, at some point the Warriors are going to take like a 5-6 point lead. And then here comes Sacramento. And then Curry hits a huge shot. And then it was just so much fun. The atmosphere was absolutely electric. And we got game two tonight.
Game two tonight, bro.
Oh,
so it's going to be wild. The one player I kind of didn't see anything from, Sabonis. I was expecting a little bit better performance from him, right? He looked like it was his first playoff game, right? So that was to be expected. This Warriors team, they put the pressure on the Kings, especially late in the fourth quarter. The Kings handled it very well. De'Aaron Fox made clutch shot after clutch shot the entire fourth quarter, but Sabonis has to play better. Otherwise, this team is going to end up losing. And I think this is where the game one overreactions start, right? It's now the Kings have the momentum. We saw the crowd outside going nuts, absolutely berserk after the first playoff win in 17 years or 16 years. And, I get it, but this is a series. Now, this is a 7-game series. The Warriors could easily go into Sacramento tonight and steal this game. So I hope Kings fans are ready for that. I hope the Sacramento Kings team is ready for that. This isn't just one game. This is a long 7-game series. We got to see how it plays out.
I feel like a lot of people are probably on the Warriors tonight. Yeah. I really do. I feel like a lot of people think this team's going to come in there and steal game two. I mean, that was a gutsy performance from the Kings. That really was. I didn't know if they had it in them. Again, I haven't watched a ton of Kings basketball this year, especially being on the East Coast. A lot of those games a little bit later. But, man, was I impressed.
Yeah, their role players really stepped up. You got Kevin Huerter hitting some big shots there. Harrison Barnes actually played a pretty good role for this team as well. Malik Monk hits big shot after big shot. Like, he's proven himself to be one of the best free agent signings this entire offseason. So I think Malik Monk was a very good addition for this team. But we got to see what happens because the role players at home always step up. So we need the Kings role players. If the Kings are to have a chance, they have to have their role players step up. On the Warriors side, it's going to come down to hitting shots and then getting the most out of Draymond Green, who I think is going to be a very big piece for this team as far as this series specifically. He tried to take out Sabonis. So I don't know if you caught it there at the end of the game. There was a shot that went up. It was within the last minute of the game. And I thought, Draymond, as a player, I kind of lose respect for him as a player, bro. It's got to the point where things are ugly with him. He's sitting on top of Sabonis in one of the last moments of the game. He just doesn't go back on offense, just because he's trying to affect the play. It reminds me a lot of like a Dennis Rodman, how we used to do for the Chicago Bulls. But it's getting kind of ugly. We've seen the nut kicks. We've seen like all kind of dirty stuff from Draymond. When does it end, bro? I'm getting kind of like, I don't know, as a referee, why aren't they calling this shit?
Yeah. No, that is. I need to look back and see that. I think I saw a clip on Twitter, but I didn't actually watch it.
So what happened was somebody shoots a shot on the Sacramento Kings. The Warriors get the rebound. They get tangled up. Draymond gets kind of tangled up, but what he does is he sits down on Domantas Sabonis, and as he's trying to get up, he like kind of coils his leg around Sabonis and then stays on top of him. He's almost like so the team can get a 4-on-4 type of action without the big on the floor. So he's done this before. It's not like this is the first time we've seen Draymond play a little, on the edge of dirty versus like I'm stumbling. It's starting to become a problem, man. So I don't know, bro. I just want to see a clean series for the rest of the series, and hopefully we don't get these Draymond antics. I know they're coming.
They are.
They're coming,
it's
bro.
Draymond.
It's Draymond Green, man. And we're lucky this wasn't the Memphis series, because it probably would have been even crazier if it was Memphis. Before we get into this Memphis game, though, this Kings crowd was crazy, right? Like we talked about how the reaction. Did you see E40 was at the game, sitting courtside, had his chain on. He was repping for his team, the Golden State Warriors. And E40, I don't know if you know who E40 is, Matt?
So I didn't know who he was until this game.
Yeah, so if you're not from the West Coast, a lot of times you're not going to know who E40 is, right? E40 is like the notorious B.I.G. of New York, or he's like, Little John at ATL. Like he put on for the Bay Area, Sacramento, San Francisco, Oakland. He's from Vallejo, which is up here in Northern California. So he's sitting courtside between two Northern California teams. We've seen him at San Francisco 49ers playoff games. He did the anthem for the Niners for the Golden State Warriors. Like, he's a prominent figure out here. He coined us Macramento, like made us cool. And yet and still, he's getting kicked out of a game. We've seen him at multiple Warriors games. Like, this isn't the first time we've seen E40 at a game. And going back and forth with the fan who's telling him to sit down at a game where he paid for front row tickets, to me, I'm like, you know what? As a fan, the Kings got to do better. Give him a warning. Hey, you guys got to sit down, make peacemaker. You don't kick a guy out like E40, who means so much to the Bay Area and Northern California, out of the playoffs in the fourth quarter of probably one of the most electric game ones that there's been in recent memory.
Yeah, you just got to be like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like kicking out Spike Lee because he's standing up all the fourth quarter for like in Cleveland against the Knicks or whatever. Like, I saw the clip. I wasn't familiar with who it was. I looked it up. I just thought overall it wasn't a great look. I was really kind of disappointed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It pissed me off, man, because E40, he's got to tell me when to go. Like, there's a lot of classics from E40, and he's somebody that's well respected out here on the West Coast, is one of the guys who reps Northern California to the fullest. And to see him get kicked out, there's some fans, Sacramento fans, like, oh, he should have been a Kings fan or he switched up. But they put out a press release later. So hopefully the Kings do right by E40. I'm sure we'll see him courtside at some point again throughout this series because, that's just what the fan interaction is. And we got big fan interaction in this next game. The Phoenix Suns took the L to the Clippers, bro. I know we talked about this game in depth. I was ready to write off the Los Angeles Clippers. Write them off. The Phoenix Suns, best team in basketball. I was calling them the best team in basketball, best four in basketball. At times they look good, but then at times this Clipper team really put it to them. And we saw this team lose it was kind of like, the fourth quarter where things started to go downhill for this team. They were up for a little bit. They were down for a little bit. They had made a nice little run, and it looked like they were going to pull away. Then the Clippers took over. And in the fourth quarter, we saw Russell Westbrook, who struggled massively all game long, get a clutch defensive play on Devin Booker. Man, do you think the Clippers really have a chance in this series, or is this one of those game one overreactions that people are going to be talking about?
I realized I hadn't seen Kawhi play since he got injured in the playoffs, but I quickly realized after game one that you could never, ever, ever count out a Kawhi Leonard-led team in the playoffs, because if there is a switch come playoff time, there might not be a player that flips it quite like Kawhi Leonard. He just takes over those games. Like when you look at one point in the time, it was like Kawhi was basically taking on the entire Phoenix Suns team. It was ridiculous. Like a double team would immediately come. He was hitting clutch threes at the end. He was doing everything. And he just casually, I don't know what he scored, 38 points.
Yeah,
and
ridiculous.
Just was the guy for that Clippers team. And we have to remember, this is a team that's missing Paul George, right? Like, if Paul George is healthy, that really, after if that game won, like if they were able to go into Phoenix, the Suns had not lost yet with Kevin Durant. I was a little interested because Durant took more of like the facilitator role, right? He wasn't nearly as aggressive as I assumed he was going to be. And at times the Suns, when they looked great, right? I think it was the third quarter, they took like a 7-point lead. I was like, oh, this game's over.
Yeah.
But the Clippers kept hanging around.
It made no sense to me because KD, over the last like 9 minutes of the game, he only took 2 shots.
Yeah.
Which is for a team that, like, I expect Kevin Durant to be the guy on this Phoenix team. That should not be happening. Like Devin Booker, I know he had a decent matchup against Westbrook. Obviously, you want Devin Booker going against Westbrook on most possessions. Like that's a good thing. But you also have KD, who scored 27 himself. Yeah. You have KD, who's one of the best big shot makers in NBA history. He's one of the most prolific scorers in NBA history. So why is he not getting more opportunities? And so is this a thing where KD doesn't really understand his place on the team? Are they trying to figure things out? I know it's game 1, but that will probably be the thing I want to see most in game 2 is how assertive is KD? Because it's an offense where he can pick his shots. He doesn't have to be super ball dominant. He can go kind of be a spot-up shooter. But in the fourth quarter, they got a lot of guys on this team. Chris Paul has been a guy before. Devin Booker, the guy. Now they have another one with Kevin Durant. Who's going to be the guy moving forward for the Suns team? We got to see how that plays out, man. And, for the Clippers, Russell Westbrook, I think, is the biggest story there. Obviously, Kawhi Jordan, as you can call him, Kawhi Jordan, in every big shot imaginable. But Russ, for as bad as he played all game, he shot 3 for 18 or something crazy like that. As bad as he played, he made probably the biggest defensive play in that game, getting the block on Devin Booker. And then Devin Booker just kind of standing there, not continuing the action. The ball went right off of him.
Right off of that. Like,
you kind of got to respect that out of Russ, right?
I mean, I feel like that game summarizes who Russell Westbrook has been. Like, when the tough times come, it's like Westbrook always, like, no one's going to remember the 3 of 18 shooting. Like, they won't. They're going to remember that play that he made, and then he pulled his chest out and was like, that's just heart. And that's who Westbrook is, man. Like, even, through such a season where the ups and downs and the question marks, and I'm sure there's no way Russell Westbrook's on social media like that guy. With what people say about him. Oh my god,
he's so intense, and I mean it's encapsulated all by what happened after the game. And he's walking through for some reason the Suns have like this lounge area.
I was so confused by that. What was that, like in the tunnel, like on the way to the locker room? Like where the hell was that?
I could not tell where it was at. It looks like there's a section obviously there. So the players are walking through wherever these fans are, and these guys are just eating. I don't know if this is halftime, if this is beforehand, but it's the Suns fans. It's not like it's even the Clippers fans. It's Suns fans watching the Clippers players go through the tunnel. I'm assuming the fan said something.
Had to have said something.
The video starts off. There's a video circulating online that has Russell Westbrook getting into it with the fan. And so the fan is with this kid. They're eating food. He's got a plate of ham or something, and he's eating and kind of like not paying attention while Russ is like yelling at this guy as he's heading back into the arena. It looks like, what the hell is going on with Russ and all these fans? Every time I look up, Russ is getting into him with the fan, bro.
And it's game 1. Like this is a 7-game series.
You just look around and like even in the background, you see all these people like, what the hell's going on? One of the guys is walking back, just kind of like shaking his head. Russ is always getting into it, bro. We couldn't get through this like first playoff games. I tried to go as long as I could, Matt, without, talking about a team that happens to be in the Western Conference that just upset another team on their home floor, I got this hat. I can't really read it out. Can't make out what it says. I think it says Los Angeles Lakers, one of the winning teams this weekend, playing against the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis. Big win for the Los Angeles Lakers. This was a game that we didn't see that typical LeBron performance where he just 30, 8, triple-double type performance. This was a lower tier LeBron performance, which wasn't a bad thing, right? Because we saw a typical Anthony Davis performance where he gets hurt and he says, "Oh, my shoulder,
dude,
gotta go to the locker room."
I can't feel. I heard him say something like they were showing. I saw something on Twitter. It was like, I can't feel. Like I was like, oh god, here we go.
I can't feel my arm. Like, I was thinking this is not good for the Lakers.
No.
Like he went to the locker room, but there again, AD, like he's done many times in his career, looks like he's out for the year, comes right back. But Ja Morant
Yeah.
did not come back. And this is a game that obviously this Memphis Grizzlies team is already missing some key components. Steven Adams, Brandon Clark out. Ja Morant said afterward, he suffered an injury trying to go to the lane. He jumped up, landed on his hand. And this was a right hand that was already previously injured. He tried to put on socks afterward in the locker room, said he can't even use his right hand right now. Very questionable. Looks like almost doubtful for game 2. And we've seen this Memphis team be good without Ja Morant, but they have no chance in this series without Ja Morant. What are your thoughts, man? Because there was, we got another injury we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes, but Ja Morant getting hurt is one of the bigger storylines for this Memphis team. They've already gone through a lot this year. Do you think they have a chance without Ja if he misses a couple games?
It was a tough day in the NBA for injuries. And here's the thing about Ja Morant. I honestly, like, out of college at Murray State, I love Ja Morant. He reminded me a lot of Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose is my favorite athlete growing up. And I feel like the way he plays basketball, and after seeing how Derrick Rose's career went, it's just not sustainable. And I hate to say that. And, it's one of those things where a jaw injury right now, there's no way. Like, Memphis they just can't, not against this Lakers team. I think it would be a great series if he's healthy, and the way that other guys are able to step up, even like in one of the last games or in the playing game, when LeBron passed the ball off to Shooter and Shooter hit the 3. Like, he trusts his teammates, which is huge. And I think he also realized, like, this is a long, like, the NBA playoffs are a grind.
Yeah.
And, he can't do, like, he's going to have to save his body, and other guys are willing to step up. Austin Reeves was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, hitting dagger after dagger, yelling out, "I'm him!" Yelling out, "I'm him!" Like, seeing Austin Reeves with that. And who else had a crazy game was Rui Hachimura.
Yeah.
Like, drilling 5 threes and just dagger after dagger. And if this supporting cast continues to play at this level, I think the league probably underrated what the Lakers did at the trade deadline. Like, we didn't even see a huge game crazy game out of D'Angelo Russell. We've seen Dennis Schroeder play hero. We've seen Austin Reeves play hero. We've seen Malik Beasley play hero. Like, this supporting cast for the Lakers is better than advertised. And so it's going to be a long series for the Grizzlies, or maybe it won't. But in order for it to be a long series, they need Ja back. And I'm not sure that happens game 2 at home. This could get a little ugly if the Lakers go back to LA up 2-0.
Yeah, I agree.
Another team that lost a home opener and suffered an injury to a major player, the Milwaukee Bucks, kind of unexpectedly lost to the Miami Heat, who struggled for their play-in lives there and got in, unfortunately, against Matt's Bulls. Man, how you feeling, dog, about the Bulls, bro? That was a tough L.
I watched the Bulls just totally collapse the last 4 minutes of that game and just thought to myself, like, well, you know what? I would rather at this point, like, this team – obviously, I had no idea that Giannis, and I honestly don't think the Bulls would still beat the Bucks without Giannis.
Yeah.
But I realized, like, I'd rather it happen now than us get swept. Maybe this will raise more concerns, and they can really blow things up, because just to fight through Toronto and come back from 19 points, your gutsy first like 3 quarters and a half in Miami, and then you just throw it all away, was so disappointing. But that kind of sums up the Chicago Bulls team and the season.
Well, real quick, do you want to see the Bulls run it back, or are you trying to blow it up?
No, you blow it up.
Blow it up,
you blow it up. It's time to blow it up. They're last year, it's like, okay, maybe Lonzo Ball's supposed to come back. You can't, like, I don't know if Lonzo Ball is going to come back at this point. Like, you can't just wait on Lonzo to come back. And this team just isn't built correctly. I think the coaching staff is poor. I think Donovan lost the locker room a long time ago. They just signed him to an extension last offseason, which is a huge concern of mine.
Keep going, Matt. Keep going. Just let it all out.
And on top of that, we don't have shooters. There's no shooters on this damn team besides Kobe White. Like, Zach LaVine can create his own shot, but you need guys you can kick it out to when DeMar's driving or Zach's driving, and Vooch just disappears. And I don't know if that's on Billy Donovan or whatever, but I look at the way this team's built, and I think it was meant to be so. Like, when I look back at the DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine time, it will be such a disappointment, because I remember, when they got DeMar and then they traded for Vooch, I was like, all right, we got something. We got our big 3, right? And the fact that the highlight of our big 3 was winning 1 game against Milwaukee in the first round, it's time to blow it up, Justin.
You know what? I know you needed that, bro. I could feel it. Like, just let that shit out. You know, sometimes you gotta just, as a fan, you gotta be able to let out all the shit that's been bothering you all season long. You know what? And it'd be crazy to see them blow it up because I thought they had a good framework, man. The Bulls, I was wearing the hat too. I thought we was gonna bring us some luck. Maybe I brought them some bad luck, bro.
We're good. But back to that series because Tyler Hero gets hurt too.
Bro, like, Tyler Hero got hurt, broke his hand. He is gonna be out for 4 to 6 weeks, so he won't be back anytime soon for this Miami Heat team who desperately need. He's such a player. He's a player that elevates his level of play every time they come into the playoffs. So sucks to see Tyler Hero go out. But for the Bucks side, Giannis with a back contusion out. When we've seen this play now with Ja, we saw it with Joel Embiid. We see it with Giannis. These guys are going up into the lane very aggressively. There's a guy underneath them trying to take a charge, right? Taking a charge or blocking. They fall down and they hurt themselves. It's how Ja got injured. And now Giannis is potentially out for another game. Like he missed the rest of game one with a back contusion. This is a major injury, a major storyline because this Bucks team absolutely will not advance past the Miami team who's had their number recently. Like this is a back and forth type series. It wasn't, I think the Bucks were so good all season long. We're like, you know what? This is the best team in basketball. But come playoff time, this Miami Heat team has a way of sticking around. And I think I wrote them off a little too early. And they've had Giannis's number in the past. Obviously, they got the better of them. This team they've gone back and forth. But now without Giannis, this Heat team probably smells blood, bro.
And I feel like Giannis is, in my opinion, maybe like one of the most durable superstars we have in the league. Like I don't ever even think the idea of Giannis being hurt crossed my mind, but
right.
You know, it sucks. Like you want to see the best players play, especially come playoff time. And I look at this Miami team that has Jimmy Butler and then, you know, Bam and stuff like that. And I really don't think Miami or Milwaukee can get it done without Giannis. Yeah. Especially after losing game one, I just don't see how it's going to happen.
Yeah, they definitely need Giannis back. We'll see how it goes, but this series should get interesting. And, you know, I think it's easy to do game one overreactions, right? It's easy to say, nope, now the Bucks are going to lose or this is going 7. I still think the Bucks are the best team with Giannis on the court, but it absolutely depends on that because losing the Heat did lose Tyler Hero, which is a big piece for that team too. So they had some big performances from other guys who stepped up. Some other notable performances from the first round. We saw Jalen Brunson going to Cleveland. Him and the Knicks, they had an opportunity to get the win there against the Cavs. Big time performance from Jalen Brunson. I think that series is going to be electric. Him and Donovan Mitchell should be going back and forth the entire series, in my opinion.
Justin, if you're a Cavs fan, you got to be thinking to yourself, Donovan Mitchell scored 38 points and we still lost at home. That's a scary thought if you're a Cleveland fan.
Yeah, but I think these two teams are more even to where, like, I don't think that the Knicks are just going to go win every game in the Garden. Like, I could see the Cavs bouncing back. This defense is legit, so I don't see them slacking. Like, I just think that this energy has a feel to it. Like, you don't know who's going to win each game in and game out. The Knicks is a big-time performance, though. Yeah. Big-time win for them to steal one on the road. That's all you ask for in the first two. If you're the road team, you just want to steal one on the road. So they're off to the right start. Celtics and Sixers, both of them took care of business in a major way. We saw Harden drop 7 threes, and we know Harden with the lead, right? Let's see how if any kind of adversity comes up. I think they might sweep this series. It just looked like they overpowered the Nets.
It's not even over. Boston's just going to sweep it. Boston's so much better than Atlanta. I watched that game, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, this is just like that second quarter warm up for Boston. They were
ridiculous that second quarter. They put it on him, and it's like I think Trae Young is going to struggle. Like defensively, he's getting locked up right now. So I don't want to count them out though. Like that's a team I don't want to count out. It looked bad, but we've also seen the Celtics look inconsistent at times this year. We've seen the Hawks look elite at times, and they look terrible at times. So I ain't ready to give up on this Hawks team yet, just in case.
I am. I'm over here.
You're like, I'm up. The motherfucker's gone.
I got the broom ready.
All right, the last series that had a game 1, the Nuggets got the win. So obviously, good game 1. Probably what we all expected. The Wolves got ran in that one. It was late. I started to go to sleep, bro. I'm on the West Coast, and I started to go to sleep. The game didn't start till like 7:45 my time.
That was the problem. Everything was just so backed up, and Denver just took it to Minnesota. Couldn't hit a shot, and I have all my question marks about Anthony Edwards right now in playoff time because again he struggled big time. I think I might underrate Denver. I really do. I think I'm kind of sleeping on. I watched that game. Denver looked good, man.
But they playing the T-Wolves, bro.
I
They playing the
know.
Timberwolves,
I
who
know.
fight with each other more than anything. We see
No.
Kyle Anderson ready to fight again yesterday. Like, this team has some
What are
anger
they doing?
issues.
Yeah.
This fucking Timberwolves team they gotta go to anger management, bro. They're trying to fight everybody. It doesn't make no damn sense, bro. But hey, we're gonna get into some NFL stuff. Obviously, NBA stuff we continue to talk about for the entire playoffs. But guys, make sure you download Champions Round app. Use promo code playoffs anytime during the NBA playoffs and get your deposit matched 100%. So make sure y'all taking advantage of that. We're going to be playing Daily Dozen here in just a little bit, but we got to talk about some NFL offseason stuff that's kind of come to light. Buda Baker, Matt, on the show, we were about 15 minutes off. Buda Baker had requested a trade in the most informal, the most 2023 fashion possible, right? Go to Twitter, delete the Arizona Cardinals from your bio, and then posted a Michael Jordan meme. I wish we could show it on the screen right now. A Michael Jordan meme to say that he's basically out of there, bro. Like, Buda Baker, bro, there's so many other ways you could have did that. But here we are. One of the top safeties on the market in the league is available, ready to help a team out. You got a fit for him? You think there's a good fit for Buda Baker? Is there a team that you want him to go to?
I don't know if I have a fit, but I am questioning this whole like Michael Jordan, like you saw it with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, like The Last Dance when they posted on their social medias. Like
everybody thinks they find their Jordan now.
10 years ago, imagine if I told you like players would be like the way you know a player wants out of your team is by like a Twitter or a meme or taking something out of their bio. And I mean,
it's like how you got out, like when you were in a relationship on Facebook and you went from it's complicated or single, like that's how you knew. The social media era, man.
And the Cardinals' whole organization, I don't know if you saw, they were booing, like, I don't know. I don't know what game he was at. Kyler, I don't think it was the Suns game. Kyler was at I don't know what game, but they were booing him. Like, the Arizona fans were booing Kyler. Right. He said, like, it's just, like, dude, Kyler put you on the freaking map. Why are you booing him for, man?
Yeah. And it's like these fans don't always appreciate what they got in front of them. So Buda Baker, we saw the rant last year when he felt like the team was giving up and he was so passionate about winning. So I hope he goes to a winning organization. There's a lot of teams that could use him. Another player from that same team, that Cardinals team, has been asking for a trade and was recently asked to do some body language type reactions. DeAndre Hopkins is probably out of Arizona this year for good reason. I mean, obviously this team is going full rebuild mode, has a very high draft pick. I'm sure they're going to look to change directions here with the new coach in place. But DeAndre Hopkins is not going to be part of it. He was asked on a social media clip, I saw it, of who is a likely trade partner. And obviously he can't really speak on it. I think there's fines and some other things he doesn't want to lose no more money, right?
Yeah.
He said, even on Twitter, he said money's not the reason right now, but I know he cares about his money. There's 4 teams he was asked reactions to. The first one, it was the New England Patriots, and he kind of like looked it off. The next one was the Buffalo Bills, and he was like, The New York Jets was another one. He kind of looked it off, which is strange because Aaron Rodgers is going there. More on that. And then the Kansas City Chiefs. He was very excited about it. So which one of these 4 landing spots, Matt, the Pats, the Jets, the Bills, the Chiefs, like I would absolutely love to see D-Hop in KC, bro.
Oh my God. I think when we recorded a few weeks ago, my prediction was the Lions. Now they didn't say the Lions. I'm going to stick by my Lions pick though. Kansas City would be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. DeAndre Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes and an Andy Reid offense. I think what he could do and what he could bring for that team would just be insane. And I think there was a lot of question marks about Baltimore. Then Baltimore went out and got Odell. I even saw something where Lamar was like, I don't know if this is real or not. He's like, I want Odell and Hopkins. And the general manager was like, we can't do that. We don't have enough money for that. Right. And they went out and got Odell.
Yep.
But I would absolutely love to see DeAndre Hopkins in Kansas City.
Yeah. Bro, if he goes to KC, I think we see like a D-Hop resurgence, like a 1,500-yard type season. One of the biggest myths to me is like guys just falling off after one season. You don't just lose your talent after one season. And we saw elite D-Hop last year. So for fantasy purposes, if he goes to a team like the Chiefs, I'm still drafting him as like a top 15 fantasy wide receiver. To me, he's that. He's probably still wide receiver 1, depending on most teams, unless he just goes to a team with like a shitty quarterback. So for me, I'm in. on DeAndre Hopkins. I'm in on whatever situation he goes to. I love me some D-Hop, bro. Best hands in the league. One of the classic moments is when he torched D'Angelo Hall there in Hard Knocks. Another player who struggled last season, who might be on the chopping block for fantasy purposes, for real NFL purposes, Dalvin Cook. This team, Minnesota Vikings, are going to be heading into the draft, and there's a possibility that Dalvin Cook, one of the league's most electric running backs. I love watching Dalvin Cook, and it's not like he didn't play well, but he could be on the chopping block and getting cut this season. Like, that's a very big name, and I think, like I said, sometimes we give up on these guys a little too early. I still think Dalvin's a top 10, 15 running back in the league.
I kept like seeing those rumors and thinking like they were like from faulty sources. Like, I can't believe like they're trying to move on from Dalvin Cook. Like, I just doesn't, like you said, yeah, he gets injured and he misses some games here and there, but he's a incredible running back. And do they still have Madison? Is that their back? Is that going to be their guy going forward?
They just re-signed Madison.
Like, is that the direction they're going in? Like, why are they moving on? Like, obviously I saw, Thielen's gone, and now the idea of Dalvin Cook. I just question, what direction is this Minnesota offense? And you obviously have Kirk Cousins and you have Justin Jefferson, but I don't feel like Dalvin Cook's someone you should move on from.
Like, he brings an electricity to that offense. And I know he wasn't as consistent this last year. He's been dealing with the shoulder injury, but like supposedly he went and got shoulder surgery this offseason. So you would think like, okay, the team might invest in him. He's fully healthy. He's been putting this off for a while. He's good now. But if I'm one of these other teams, like a competing team, I'm waiting in the wings, bro. Like, I know the Vikings will probably go get a running back in the draft, which actually makes a lot of sense. Go get like a Jahmyr Gibbs type running back. That makes sense. But Dalvin Cook is like on a playoff team. Think about like Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah. Think about like Chicago Bears, a team that kind of has a void there, a running back. Think about some of these teams that actually could use Dalvin Cook. And it starts to get scary if he goes to Buffalo with his brother.
I was going to say, what if he went to Buffalo, man? Oh, my gosh.
It would be crazy. So Dalvin Cook, man, like, I think we're giving up on some of these guys. They're still like Zeke is still out there. Leonard Fournette is out there, but I ain't quite ready to give up on these guys yet. OBJ, I wanted to talk about this before we change. He has a couple of incentives. I'm going to pull up the exact numbers, right? Odell Beckham had it was like $3 million in incentives. And each of them was for numbers. So I wanted to play a quick game with you.
Okay.
And I feel like it's kind of fun, kind of fun to see what the incentives are. The first incentive was $1 million for receptions, right? Obviously with the Ravens, we don't know. We're just going to assume Lamar's the quarterback.
Yeah.
If he gets 30 receptions, he gets $250K, 40 receptions, $500K, 50 receptions, $750K. If he leads the team in receptions or gets 60 receptions, he gets $1 million. You think he gets it or no?
I'm going to say yes. I am. I'm hoping that he stays healthy. But no, I think that's tough. I'm going to say he's in.
That's why we asking the question, bro.
I like that though.
How much money is he making? 250, 500, 750, or $1 million? How much is he making?
I'm going to go $1 million. You know what? I'm going to say $1 million. I'm going to say a bounce back season for Odell. That's tough though, because I think he's more of a wide receiver too right now. But at the same time, I mean,
Bateman's healthy. Mark Andrews is there. I'm putting you on the spot, bro. You can't waffle back and forth.
You know what? I'm gonna say 750.
750.
What about yourself?
50 to 60 catches.
I think
right?
50 to 60 catches.
I'm going with 60, bro. I think Odell redemption story. Like, he bet on himself 1-year deal. I think he's like that 70 catch range. Like, okay. I'm going to give him 70 catch range, which would be a fantastic. Like, people forget that's a fantastic season for any receiver. Like, Odell coming back from ACL tears, give me the $1 million. Receiving yards, 250 receiving yards is 250. Basically, for every yard he gets $1,000. Or 100,000. He gets $100,000. So 500 is exactly right. So 500 yards, or my math is off on that. He gets $10,000 for every yard he gets, or $1,000 for every yard he gets. 500,000 is for 500 yards. 750,000 for 750 yards, and then 1,000-yard season is $1 million in Odell Beckham's pocket.
I think he's have 1,000-yard season. I do.
I got him at 1,000.
I got him as 1,000. I think I think he's going to be out there to prove some people wrong. I think Lamar's going to look his way quite a bit. And, they have a new offensive coordinator in Baltimore. I assume they're going to throw the ball a little bit more. And I don't know. I like this. I like this for Odell.
It's a good setup for him, dude.
Yeah.
Like, but the one I didn't mention this. So in all of these, if he leads the team, that supersedes if he gets the 60 or the 1,000. So
Okay.
if he's the team leader in yardage, that counts too.
Okay.
So I'm gonna use that caveat. I'm gonna agree with you. I think he's under 1,000 yards a season, like 800 to 900. But I think he leads the team.
Okay.
I think
So he hits that mill. He hits that mill.
I think Odell gets the mill there. And then the last one, receiving TDs. 3 is 250K. 5 touchdowns, 500K. 7 is 750K. And then 9 or leading the team is 1 million. So 3, 5, 7, 9.
Oh, I could see him finishing at like 8 or 9. I'm gonna say he's gonna hit 9. Even like when Odell was on the Rams, right? Like for that short period of time, I feel like he was still scoring touchdowns. Like he still is an end zone threat. He scored in the Super Bowl, and I think here's the thing: if I'm gonna go high in receiving yards and receptions, I'm gonna go. I think I got to go on touchdowns as well.
I'm gonna go a little lower on touchdowns.
Okay.
I think he's more like 6 touchdowns.
More 6 touchdowns.
Even though he's a scorer, like Odell is a scorer too, and he's flashy, and we see him. He gets a lot of
those celebrations.
He does, bro. He fights for him. But I look at this Ravens team; they use a lot more of the run game. Lamar uses his legs. Yeah. Mark Andrews is a weapon. Rashad Bateman should be healthy. So I think Lamar probably throws in the 25-30 range. I'm kind of leaning towards the under on that one. So
wait, where do you have it? Like 6 or how many?
So I got 6. So that's 500,000.
500. Okay.
So I think he makes 2.5 million. Sound like you had him at 2.75 million.
Ooh.
So either way, Odell's getting the bag, baby. Odell is getting the bag. Before we get into Daily Dozen, I'm pulling it up right now. But did you see the post game for LeBron James? LeBron James was in the post game and he was talking about Austin Reeves.
Oh.
And he was like, you know what? From the first time I saw Austin Reeves on day 1 after he signed his 2-way, I knew he wasn't going to be a 2-way for long. And he was like, after I saw him play in the first game, I knew he was going to get a guaranteed contract. LeBron, bro, you my guy. But LeBron be capping.
Cap is back.
Bro, he was looking like the meme just in the press conference. Dog, like, do you think he does it intentionally now?
I think at this point, because like I was it on Uninterrupted where he was like asked about it, where they basically confirmed it. I feel like ever since then, he's kind of like, I don't think originally, especially with like the lyrics of him singing songs and it's just so off and he's just like talking, like it's just, but now I think he feeds into it. The Austin Reeves thing is funny because, just the way he went on from like, of course, Austin Reeves has a huge game. He's like, oh, I knew from the start, I knew he wasn't going to be a 2-way player. Like, I know the type of players I want to play. That was incredible.
Now, LeBron always makes it about LeBron. And then like Dennis Schroeder, remember he hit the game winner or the supposed game winner? He's like doing the celebration. I'm like, LeBron, let these dudes shine, bro. I love you. You my dog, but let these guys shine, bro. All right. Let's get into these daily dozens real quick before we get off, my man. Joel Embiid. For the record, this section is called The Champ is Here because we're going 12 for 12. At some point, last time, Matt, we were a little bit off. We're a little bit off.
Just a little bit.
We got some. This is Redemption Day. Redemption Day. Joel Embiid, total points today, 32.5 against the Nets.
I'm going to go under. Seems a little high for me.
I'm rocking with the under, too. I think playoff time, it kind of like rested him a little bit once they got up, so I can see him getting to a big lead early today as well. Joel Embiid under. Mikal Bridges, total points, 27.5 today against the Sixers.
If they're gonna keep the game close, he's gonna have to. And he was really good in that first half.
He had 30 in the first game.
Yeah, he had 30 in the first game. He was showing out. I'm gonna take the over.
Let's go over. We gotta do it, baby. Let's do it. Over. I'm with the over here. James Harden, total assists at 10.5 against this Nets team. I think he hits over this number as well. He's been so involved here. I can see his scoring going down a little bit. I don't think he hit 7 threes again this game, but he's been the facilitator. He's getting the minutes right now. I'm going to go James Harden over on the assist total.
I'm in agreement on that.
Spencer Dinwiddie, total assists sitting at 8.5. You think he's up there as well?
Seems a little high for me. I'm going to take the under.
Let's go under then. Let's go under. I was thinking over. I was thinking over, but I think you're right.
Don't let me.
No, we got to, what I'm saying? We're making a joint decision because, at the end of the day, we got to win together. We got to hit 12 together.
True. That is true.
Me hitting 12 isn't the same way. We both got to hit this shit. Let's rock with the under. That's right. You know what's going to happen one time is we're going to disagree. We're going to go 11 for 12 and disagree on one.
It's
and one
going to
of
be
us
the one. Exactly. We're going to be like, oh, man, if you would listen to that.
Total 3-pointers made. Tobias Harris at 1.5. I think this is a number we can expect Tobias Harris to hit 2 threes today. I feel good about that.
Yeah, that 76ers team was in the first half. They could not miss from 3. Yeah. That was insane. Like Harden hit 1, and then all of a sudden he's hitting like step back 3s and making guys fall over. He was
looked like Houston.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson total 3-pointers sitting at 2.5.
I'm going to lean towards you. What do you think on this one?
I kind of like the under on this one. You know, he's been involved since the trade deadline. Cam Johnson really has been involved as a shooter, and you know, we've seen him like he normally hits around 3. I'm kind of like speaking myself into the over, man. It's a high number though. 2.5 threes. Let's go over, baby. Over.
I feel like he's either gonna have 2 or 3 threes. I think it's gonna be right there.
I think about it like this. If I assume that the Sixers are gonna win this game, probably close to double digits, somewhere in like the 8 to 10 range. And that means in the fourth quarter, you're gonna shoot threes in order to come back. Cam Johnson's gonna hit a couple of those. Let's go over, baby. All right, the game of the night has to be Sacramento Kings Warriors. We got De'Aaron Fox at 27.5.
We're going over. Come on,
baby.
Over, baby.
Over. There's no way that total doesn't go over. De'Aaron Fox is him. I got to admit it. He's him. You know, there was some, low-key, they used to talk shit about De'Aaron Fox. Oh, he's what Ja Morant. There was an ESPN reporter who was like, Ja Morant is what De'Aaron Fox thinks he is. Some just disrespectful shit. De'Aaron Fox is him, bro.
And here's the thing, like De'Aaron Fox has been dealing with that since college. Like when they knocked out UCLA and Lonzo Ball, everyone's like, oh my God, like, you know, De'Aaron Fox, like great college player. He's not going to translate. I'd rather have Lonzo and all that stuff. Like he's been, you know, he's had a chip on his shoulder since the day he came into the league.
Shout out to De'Aaron Fox. Big clutch performances, bro. I expect more of the same. Klay Thompson tonight, total points, 22.5. I think this is a total he could hit, bro. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, these games are so fun and they're so fast-paced. Both teams just push the ball and like to shoot threes. I think he's going to go over here.
Let's go over, baby. There might not be any unders for this.
I know.
Domantas Sabonis sitting at 6.5 assists. That's a tough one, man, because he did kind of struggle. We talked about it. He struggled in that game, and that's a pretty good number for him because if he's not involved, that number is going to be a lot lower. I'm going to roll with the under on that one.
Okay.
What do you think? You like under?
Yeah, I'm taking your thoughts on this one.
I did mention earlier about Draymond Green needing to play a big role for this team. His total assist number is sitting at 7.5. I kind of like the over on that.
I like the over on this too.
In order for them to win tonight, he's going to have to be heavily involved.
Definitely.
Another player that's going to have to be heavily involved, Steph Curry. Steph Curry, we already knew. This number is about spot on, though. 4.5 made 3-pointers tonight.
Ooh. I'm taking the over.
Let's go. I knew you were going to. We going way up, baby. Way up. I think he hits 5 or 6 tonight.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Huerter, same thing, bro. We going over. Kevin Huerter, bro, against the Warriors. We know it's going to be a high-scoring game. All right, so Daily Dozen in play, man. We got mostly overs, a couple unders. Make sure y'all try to beat us. We're giving away a master set. We haven't seen no comments come in. If you want to participate in this challenge, drop a comment here if you're watching live. We got a lot of fun that we're doing, man. If you guys want us to answer any questions, get your comments in. This one was a little pre-recorded live episode, but most of the time we're going to be live answering your guys' questions. So play Daily Dozen with us. Hop into the Champions Round app, and let's get this thing going. Guys, Matt, amazing show today, bro.
Hey, thank you so much. Happy Monday, dude. I wasn't feeling great. I don't know if you saw this morning, but my Starbucks came to the house, and it was spilled all over the floor. So it wasn't a great start to a Monday, but it was a great show. And thank you again for having me, Justin. I appreciate it.
As always, bro. You're going to come on whenever I have a show, bro. You always have the invite. You already know that. So good day for me. Better day for Jalen Hurts. He got the bag. A lot of NBA stuff we'll be talking about tomorrow, guys. It's been real on the Justin Henry Show. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Peace out.